Have you ever felt controlled by someone else's decisions? A question that resonates with many, but particularly for an 18-year-old girl who found herself at the mercy of her parents' choices. Our protagonist, a first-year college student, was forced to take a semester off from her dream college due to her parents' refusal to pay her tuition. A situation that can be frustrating and challenging for anyone, but for her, it was a step back into a past she had been eager to leave behind. In high school, she grappled with mental health issues, a struggle exacerbated by the toxic environment of her parents' home. Her academic performance was negatively affected, and she yearned for a change, an escape, a fresh start. And that fresh start came when she moved states away to pursue her college education. College was a breath of fresh air, a chance for her to break free from the chains of her past and explore her true potential. She was doing much better academically and emotionally, away from the stifling environment of her parents' home. It was her sanctuary, her haven, the place where she truly felt at home. But her parents, despite their stable jobs, refused to pay her tuition, a decision that left her feeling betrayed and helpless. The financial aid office, despite their willingness to help, could not provide much assistance due to her parents' financial stability. The burden of tuition fell heavily on her, a burden she was unable to carry. Her parents' decision to not pay her tuition was not merely a financial decision. It was an act of control, a way for them to dictate her future, to pull her back into their world. And she, a young girl with dreams and aspirations, found herself trapped, her dreams slipping away from her grasp. This was the first time I felt my dreams being pulled away from me, controlled by the decisions of others. A sentiment that echoes the frustration, the helplessness, the despair she felt. But it was only the beginning of a series of events that would further challenge her resolve, her dreams, and her future. Have you ever been forced to make a choice that wasn't truly yours? Picture this. I'm in my first year of college, miles away from home, trying to find my footing in a new world. But even in this newfound freedom, I was not free from the strings of my parents' control. They insisted that I fill out transfer applications to other colleges, Bryn Mawr, Smith, Bennington, all equally as expensive as the one I was attending. Here I was, trying to focus on my studies, battling the demons of insomnia that allowed me only 10 hours of sleep, and often, that sleep was alcohol-induced. Imagine the struggle of trying to maintain an academic life while your mind is clouded with sleep deprivation and the constant worry of appeasing your parents' whims. And then, the world as I knew it, shifted. My older brother, who rarely calls, rang me one day with a revelation that shook me to my core. Our aunt, the woman we lovingly called Auntie, had passed away. But the shock didn't end there. The woman we called Auntie was, in fact, my brother's birth mother. And I had been oblivious to this family secret all my life. The news hit me like a tidal wave during the first week of my spring semester. It was a harsh slap of reality, a jolt that made the academic struggles and sleepless nights seem trivial. It was a secret that had been kept from us, a truth that was hidden away, only to be revealed in the most unexpected way. But even in the midst of this personal turmoil, the puppet strings held strong. My parents continued their insistence on the transfer applications, their control reaching me even across state lines. It was as if they were telling me, yes, you may be physically away from us, but we still hold the reins. In the midst of all this chaos, I was still being controlled, being forced to consider options that were not mine. Have you ever felt abandoned when you needed support the most? Well, that's exactly how I felt when I found myself in the middle of a financial aid fiasco. Picture this: a young adult, fresh out of high school, navigating the complex and often perplexing world of college tuition and financial aid without any support. That was me. I remember walking into the financial aid office, a knot of anxiety in my stomach. They were willing to work with my family, they said. They reassured me that we could find a solution together. So, I did my part. I answered every question they asked. I attended every meeting. But there was a catch. My parents needed to be involved. The financial aid staff insisted, saying that my parents should give them a call. With a glimmer of hope, I communicated this to my mom. But the call never came. Instead, they told me I could handle it myself. But I couldn't. That was the whole point of my reaching out to them. I was a young adult, yes, but I was still learning, still trying to figure out how to navigate this complex adult world. The final blow came in the summer. I asked my dad when he was going to pay my tuition. His answer? He wasn't. He accused me of lies and deceit and said this was the consequence. I was stunned. This was the same man who taught at a college, who understood the importance of education. Yet he was refusing to support me in my pursuit of knowledge. This wasn't just about money. This was about control, about dictating my future. This was about them trying to hold onto the reins when I was ready to take them myself. I was ready to chase my dreams, to explore the world, to become the person I wanted to be. But in their eyes, I was still their little girl, still someone they could control. Just when I needed them the most, I was left to fend for myself, their decisions overshadowing my future. Have you ever had your dreams belittled and replaced with someone else's? A question that echoes in my mind as I recall the day my father sat me down, his stern gaze boring into me. He declared that my future would be at the college where he taught. My heart sank, not because I was against attending his school, but because of the choices he presented to me. Finance, business, economics, a trio of subjects far removed from my passion. His voice, imbued with an authoritative tone, left no room for discussion. My dreams of studying anthropology, of delving into the rich tapestry of human cultures and societies, were dismissed as foolish. The words stung, a harsh contrast to the excitement that once filled my heart when I thought about my future. My mother, a silent observer, finally spoke up. They wouldn't stand and watch me make bad decisions. Their words, intended as guidance, felt more like chains, shackling me to a future I had no desire to pursue. To add salt to the wound, my father's vision for me didn't stop at a bachelor's degree. An MBA or a JD, that was the path he saw for me. A path that, to him, was paved with success and stability. But to me, it was a path devoid of the joy and fulfillment I sought in my career. My dream career was belittled, my passion labeled as stupid. It felt as though my dreams were being replaced with decisions made by others. A future that should have been painted with my brushes, filled with my colors, was being filled in by them. The imposed career path felt like a heavy weight, a burden that I was expected to carry. It wasn't about the money or the prestige. It was about having the freedom to choose, to pursue what truly made me happy. Their decisions, made under the guise of concern, felt like an attempt to control the future they couldn't when I was living states away. A future I worked hard to create, a future I was excited to pursue, felt like it was being snatched from under me. My dreams were replaced with their decisions, my future painted with their brushes. Have you ever felt like your life was being controlled by someone else? It's an unsettling feeling, like being a puppet on someone else's strings. Our protagonist knew this feeling all too well. A constant passenger on a journey she didn't choose. Living under the same roof with her parents was like living under a storm cloud, the atmosphere heavy with emotional abuse. The unkind words, the constant belittling, the cruel remarks, they were her parents' weapons of choice, their barbs sinking deep into her spirit. It was a toxic environment, a house that felt less like a home and more like a battleground. She felt their control seeping into every aspect of her life, a constant suffocating presence. They dictated her future, chose her college, picked her career path, and even controlled her finances. Their decisions, like heavy chains, bound her, leaving her feeling helpless and trapped. The dreams she had nurtured, the future she had envisioned for herself was now just a distant mirage, snatched away by the very people who should have been her biggest supporters. She yearned for the freedom to make her own choices, to follow her own path, but found herself tethered to their expectations and demands instead. Her heart ached with the weight of her unfulfilled dreams, her spirit crushed under the weight of their dominance. She felt like a bird with clipped wings, yearning to fly but grounded by their control. The emotional turmoil was a constant companion, a bitter pill that she was forced to swallow every day. She was torn between her desire for their approval and her need for autonomy. It was a battle she fought every day, a war waged within the confines of her heart. And so she found herself questioning, wrestling with the guilt and the doubt. Was she wrong for not being happy with their decisions? Was she wrong for wanting to take control of her own life? Was she wrong for wanting to break free from their control and follow her own dreams? In the end, I was left questioning if I was wrong for not being happy with their decisions.